Talk loud, funny man. In the crowd, funny man. You're in rare form today. Leave 'em laughing as you walk away.
Welcome to this edition of What's So Funny, the show where we ask the questions, and sometimes we get the answers, but most of the time, we don't. But you know what? It doesn't matter, because tonight we snagged a big fish, a big kahuna. Well, you've seen him on Letterman, Arsenio, Just for Laughs. He's award-winning. He's got the plaques, the medals, the Sports Day comedy ribbons. He's a real Mr. Nice Guy and the ultimate comeback kid, Mr. Mike MacDonald. And now your host and MC, the discerning curator of comedy, Mr. Guy McPherson.
Well, hi. Thank you, Colleen. Mike MacDonald. Have you ever been referred to as the ultimate nice guy?
I can hear Colleen, but I can't hear you.
You can't hear me. Well, I'm right here beside you.
Yeah, sort of.
Sort of.
It's kind of weird with the headphones.
All right. You can take them off, I guess.
Okay.
Sorry about that, Mike, but it is a big honor to have you in studio. Finally, been doing this show 10 years. Finally, we get Mike MacDonald.
I'll tell you what's funny, that bouncy music that introed the show.
You like that?
That's funny.
It's got a good beat. A bouncy C.
And that song in front of it.
Funny man.
Funny man.
That's for
I
you.
don't think he's talking about us.
Who's that? Who you doing?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't do anybody.
No. You don't do impressions? You
No,
didn't start
no,
out
no.
as an impressionist?
No, I'm terrible at it.
Yeah.
They all sound the same.
Yeah. It is great to have you here. And as Colleen mentioned in the intro, you've done everything in comedy. I got to see.
Not everything.
Not everything?
Still haven't cracked that Billionaire Boys Club yet. Haven't cracked that one, yeah. That'd be nice.
That's just financial. You've done all the shows?
A lot of them.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but a fair amount.
Yeah.
My share in this socialized entertainment of Canada. Yes, I've had my share.
Yeah, you left. You left for a while, but you're back. You're gone for about 20 years, right? Down in California?
I think the only thing I miss is the weather. That's about it. Everything else was like,
I know.
Why couldn't they have put Hollywood in Canada? You know what I mean? It would have been a lot easier.
I interviewed you in 2002, and you said you never go outside.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big out, but it's nice to know that if I went outside, I wouldn't need a park. You know what I mean? It's like one of those.
It's like Woody Allen. He lives in New York, so he can get some at 4 a.m. He wouldn't ever do that.
Yeah.
But it's nice to know he could.
Yeah.
If he wanted to. Yeah, so I saw you Thursday night, and I've seen you numerous times over the years. First time I saw you was in Victoria. I think they were opening a Yuck Yucks or something there.
Possibly.
And you did like 2 hours. It was an amazing
Really?
show. Yeah. You did
That's
long.
weird.
Is it?
The old days with the long shows. Now I'm just happy to do like an hour again.
Yeah.
You know, it's nice because after my transplant, I literally couldn't remember my act. So thank God that the 80% of the new stuff worked because that's the only jokes I could remember. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, I heard about that. And just to let everyone know who doesn't, but it was in the news for a couple of years there. Yeah, you recently had a transplant, a liver transplant.
Truly this is what it really means to say the gift of life. Yeah. Liver transplant.
And you had it on St. Patrick's Day?
Yeah.
Really?
That's the joke.
That's serious or not?
That's the joke.
Okay,
I literally woke up and said, I'm still alive. What day is it? St. Patty's Day. Yippee.
Let's celebrate.
Yeah, it was cool. So.
Yeah, and that's because you got diagnosed with hepatitis C. And then for how long from the diagnosis till the transplant?
I think it was about 2.5 years.
That's a long 2.5 years, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's a weird thing with transplants. Like you have to be in that window. You have to be sick enough to need the surgery, but well enough to survive the surgery. So there's that small window. So yeah, it was like 2.5 years, and then technically I was only on the waiting list for 2 months. I was very surprised. I got it immediately, and of course I joke about that in my act and it did happen. People sent me emails accusing me of being a celebrity getting ahead on the line, and that's. Besides the fact that there's a dozen protocols that have to be met before anything like that can happen, Canada is like the coolest thing about it. It's fair. I just had a rare blood type that came up, I was very lucky, but, it's...
And we don't have celebrities.
Yeah, there's no jumping the line in Canada, It's weird. I mean, if you had like $20,000 or whatever, you could go to some foreign country and get a transplant immediately. But no, in Canada, it's a system and it works.
Yeah, it does, I think. And clearly we're witness to it here tonight.
Yeah.
Now,
the weird part is a nurse told me, she said, oh, you got your transplant in March. March is a really good month for donations. And I went, why? And she goes, that's when guys start to think, oh, the snow's going away. I can get my hog back out on the highway. It was a boom. So every time I see bikers now, I salute them. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I get that look back like, I'm not in the military. No, but this is for future service. I mean, Oregon. It was a weird thing for the nurse to tell me about, but I can't get it out of my head.
Wow.
Now that she's put it there.
So you were just on the list for 2 months. Leading up to that, were you thinking that you wouldn't need one?
No, leading up to that, there were times I thought, it's checkout time. I mean, I tried to commit suicide about 2 months before I was officially put on the waiting list.
Because you just couldn't see the end.
Yeah, I just thought it was so bad. I was like, I could only sleep on my right side. There was so much pain. There's just so much. I thought I was going to go anyway. So I wrote all the notes and took a bottle of pills. And the only thing that saved me is the fact that I'm an ex-drug addict. I woke up really high 6 hours later, falling on the floor. My knees were bloody because I fell out of the bed. But, for the next 3 days in the hospital, the nurses would say stuff like that. Hey, sorry, we can't give you anything for the week. And I'm cool. I'm good. For three days after that, I was stoned as hell. But I was just, the only thing that saved me was I'm an ex-drug addict.
Because you'd build up a tolerance.
Yeah.
So let that be a lesson in kids.
That was the only good thing that's ever come out of that.
Wow. Because it was bleak. You lost a lot of weight during the process.
Yeah, I joked about it, and it's true. I went at my highest, I was 250, and then it went down to my lowest just after the transplant, 153. So although I didn't have to do any special diets or exercise, it's not a weight reduction plan I would highly recommend to anyone. But you know what I mean? Yeah, that's the joke. Yeah. But it's true. It's I'm back up to normal weight again.
Yeah, you sure are.
And the thing with the pills now is I have to watch it because the pills have a tendency to make you fatter, so I can't just sit back and I have to get back on the treadmill. I hurt my back a little while ago, but I've been off it for a month and I can feel it. I got to get back on the treadmill. The treadmill was the best thing I ever bought. When we came back from Toronto after the transplant, after the mandatory 3 months, when we got back to Ottawa, the first thing I bought was a treadmill because the doctor said, walk. You should walk. You go outside, walk. And I live in Ottawa. I'm not walking anywhere in January.
Yeah.
That treadmill, that's the best money I ever spent, that treadmill.
That's right. You don't like to leave the house at the best of times, even when you're in California.
Yeah, you got your music. It's right there. It's not,
so you're
nobody looking.
Still taking the pills. You have to take medication.
Yeah, I take about 10 to 12 pills twice a day, something like that. But it's getting down. Like my medication is decreased. So one thing that I was very lucky about was they said I was on the wrong medication for mental illness, and they changed that, and it's turned out to be so much better. I'm so much easier to get along with now that these meds are working.
Now, as Colleen says, you are the nice guy.
There's a thing I learned from Rod Steiger when he was a guest on Larry King one time. Somebody asked him what medication he was on, and he was hesitant talk about it because not every medication works for everybody. Not doesn't have the same effect. So what I would be saying is you should try the different combinations because there might be something out there for you, and it helps. It really does help.
Is it an immediate help? Like if you're trying a bunch of different medications, how long do you have to give it?
The average of 2 weeks to a month, maybe something like that. But I mean, for me, I was lucky. It sort of started working right away.
Yeah. It's one ordeal. And on top of this, you were bipolar, manic depressive.
Yeah, well, that's what made the problems in recovery was I had an adverse reaction to the drugs I had to take, and it really spiraled me, into the whole depression thing. I mean, there were moments for the first 3 months after my transplant, I thought I wouldn't make it. No, I thought I was going to check out. I thought, oh man, I can't even walk up the stairs. I can't even go to the bathroom. My wife had to help me do everything. Thank God.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. It was pretty hectic. I mean, for a good 6 months, I thought I would never do this again, and then boom, it just started. I started going into open mics like anywhere to a lot of places where the reaction was, yo, Mike MacDonald, you want to go on? Oh, yeah. So I had extra time. I was lucky,
Yeah.
And within 3 months, I went on stage maybe 100 times at least. So but in a weird way, the whole thing has kind of, been a blessing because I got re-energized about the stand-up and I started writing new material and stuff. So it's, let's put it this way. In the last year, I've gotten more standing ovations than in the last 35 years.
Well, so I saw you
I must have tapped into something.
Yeah. I saw you on Thursday, and it was so great because it's the old sarcastic Mike MacDonald, and there's this other deeper element to it as well, and genuine laughs. These weren't, oh, poor Mike MacDonald, he's been through a lot laughs. Right. These are like hearty laughs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a good crowd too. I mean, that was a good night.
Yeah.
Glad I taped that one.
You mentioned that when you couldn't remember your original act for 6 months.
Yeah, at least. Yeah, I had to go back and learn it. But the great thing about going back and learning it, I would read something and I go, "Oh, that's great! Oh man, that's so funny!" And then I'd realize, "Oh yeah, that's mine. I can do that." Oh yeah. So it's sort of like half the material is new and the other half is greatest hits.
And did
extended dance mix?
Did it work? Did it work the other way where you'd read something, you go, "Oh, that's not very good. Whose is that? Oh, that's mine. I wrote that. Get rid of that one."
Not so much because I kept good files. I only kept the good stuff predominant.
Well, you also had a few specials out and numerous TV appearances. You could go back and check those.
Yeah, I haven't started on that. It's just been literally the word processing files, those kind of things. I've been reading my act instead of watching it.
And it does come back to you?
It starts to, and then sometimes it helps if I can get the tape, the audio to play with it because, I got to remember how I did it. I mean, to me, it's like any band out there, like the Rolling Stones. If they don't rehearse Jumpin' Jack Flash, you're not going to hear it. You know what I mean? So I got to go back and learn all the songs again.
Wow. And did you have a memory loss in other aspects of your life, or was it just your act?
Well, not the ones I would wish for. I still remember how crappy this business can be.
Yeah, that's good.
You know what I mean? Like I was out for like 2.5 years, and then when I got back in, it was like, oh yeah, that's why I hated you, and I hated this, and I hated that. Oh yeah, it's all coming back to me. But other than that, the majority's been good. So, but I tended to forget the BS part of the business, and then it starts to come back every once in a while. And you go, oh yeah.
Yeah, I get
it's
it.
like I really believe this when I tell bookers, you don't pay for the show. The show I do for free. What you pay for is every second before the show and every second after the show. The show I do for free because I like doing it.
That's the good part.
Yeah, you pay me to go to a hotel, get in a taxi, come here, wait to go, all that stuff.
I was thinking as there were 5 comics on ahead of you last Thursday night. A lot of them early in their careers.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you were watching them, but when you watch new comics, do you just go, I've been doing this. How many years now have you been doing this?
I have the thing. I can't help but turn into, I guess, a teacher kind of thing because I'm marking them. You know what I mean? Like I'm sitting there going, okay, that's good. Oh, I know how to fix that.
Fix it, yeah.
Or that could be that's a good. Oh, yeah, you should do more. You know what I mean? If anything, I would tell them, do more of this, less of that, more of this, whatever. But I think just about everybody, like tonight, there was 3 guys.
Where were you tonight?
Where was it? It was a new place.
Just here in town.
Yeah, I forget the name of it. Cafe Soleil or something like that. It was a really good crowd and everything, but there was like a couple of guys and a woman on before me. Man, they all had the moments when I went, yeah, that's good. Oh, yeah, that's funny. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But you don't go.
You have to be really bad not to make me laugh at least once.
Right.
Jesus.
But you go, yeah, I mean, comedy comes in waves, and I've seen this before. Maybe 30 years ago.
Well, I found one thing in doing a lot of the open mics, and, it's a process. When guys first start out, it's the old talk about what you know. And all they know at the beginning is, oh, yeah, I go to the bathroom, I jerk off, I feel that, so they're going to be talking about certain things a lot in the first couple of years. And it's just the process they got to go through. But, to me, there's still, a lot more blowjob jokes and rape jokes and misogynist shit that's still out there that should be, it shouldn't make a difference. Like when I walk off the stage and a woman comes up to me and says, oh, it's so nice to hear somebody talking about how they love their wife. And I'm thinking, that sticks out in 214?
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
That shouldn't stick out.
Well, you're saying there's a lot more of that kind of stuff. Are you saying there's a lot more now than there used to be, or there's more than there should be for this time of our lives?
It's just like music. Right now, there's tons and tons more music than there ever was.
Yeah.
So there's going to be more crap, and there's going to be more, but there's still good stuff. You look for it.
Yeah.
I mean, people in my generation, they go, oh, there hasn't been anything good since Nirvana. And I go, well, bullshit. I got all kinds of iTunes. I buy like 10 tunes every week or something, so shut up. Mm-hmm. There's still good stuff out there. You just got to wade through a lot of stuff that's not good, you know? Yeah. I mean, but it's just more of. So, but there's more good stuff and all this stuff. Same thing with comedy. Same thing with any art form, I think.
When you're sitting there making mental notes or maybe physical notes on somebody's act, do you go up to them after and go, hey?
Sometimes, I mean, I kind of feel them out and I ask them point blank if they want to hear my advice. Or
right,
whatever.
because some people might take that the wrong way.
Yeah, because, whatever. And most of the time it's really good. Most of the time, it's like, I don't trust people that don't like to talk shop. You know what I mean? They're like the one comedian that I don't trust a lot is anybody who doesn't want to talk about what they do. If they don't want to at least do that, there's something weird about them, and I don't want to hang out. So I gravitate to people that like talking shop.
Yeah.
Because what's the worst thing that can happen? We could all learn something and get better.
Yeah. I remember you telling me back in 2002 that you would used to go up to guys. You said comics were lazy. You'd hear them say a great joke at a party. Or whatever,
that was way back. Yeah.
Use that.
Way back in the
write that down. They're going, yeah.
Back in the early 80s, in the height of the arrogance of my youth, somebody would say something at a party, and so that's funny. You should write it down. And they go, yeah. I'm trying to get laid. Leave me alone. I'll write it down later. Later, you're gonna forget. Write it down now. Like, okay. If I don't hear you do it in a month, I'm gonna do it. And then they get out their notebook and they, that son of a bitch, Mike MacDonald, making me do homework. So you know what I mean? That's that typical kind of story. Like you can hear it from some people, and it's me being the bully.
Yeah.
But other people would say, no, it's him being the mentor. Him
Yeah,
being
that's how
you know
I
what
hear it.
So whatever. But, you know, there's gonna be two sides on everything. But, yeah, that's what I used to do. Very rarely I would actually do it because most guys, if it was funny, they did it.
Yeah. But sometimes,
you know, sometimes
might take...
they need a little nudging. I think the worst complaint you can make about any comedian is that we're lazier than we should be.
For all the free time you have.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all of us could be a little bit better.
Yeah.
All of us. I mean, there's nobody perfect. There's nobody, oh, he's so funny, everything. You know, no. Everybody needs, you know. I mean, Louis C.K., I mean, he's gotten so much better in the last 10 years. I mean, he's just... Whoosh,
yeah. After
you know
25 years in the business.
Yeah, and I was watching that show where he did the whole thing with the fat girl. And that whole exposition of that whole thing was just like, I feel like, you know, like certain comedians, they have that anti-up stuff. Like if you're sitting at a table with all these veterans, some guy comes in and they say, who's this guy? He's a comedian. Yeah, what? He tells a certain joke and everybody goes, okay, that's his anti-up, deal him in. He's a comedian. You know what I mean? So Louis C.K. hit that, you know, anti-up thing long time ago. So he's like, he's in there.
Yeah.
You can't, you know, and anybody not, you know, denying him is just, you know, there's something wrong with them.
Can a guy like him lose it, though?
Yeah, I mean, anybody,
what would it take?
Anybody can lose. Anybody can make mistakes or anything. But so far, he's batting 1,000.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, and it's nice too because I like to watch stuff too. You know what I mean? When I'm at home, I predominantly watch drama because a lot of comedy I already know, you know. But thank God for like Modern Family, Louis C.K. You know, those are the things I laugh at. Everything else, I want to see the drama. I'd rather watch Ray Donovan than laugh. Right. You know what I mean? So,
and usually there's a few laughs in a drama too.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's some good laughs.
Yeah,
and all the time. Yeah. But you know.
Now, when you were starting out, you talk about young guys, and you know, then it takes a while for them to be good. But you hit from the beginning, didn't you? You were pretty good.
I was very lucky. I mean, at the beginning, I got a lot of stage time because there was in Ottawa, and back in 1978, there were no comedy clubs. So I would walk into these hard rock places and say, "I bet you $50 I can go up there right now and make your audience laugh." And they go, "Oh, okay." And thank God I was funny because I didn't have $50. You know what I mean? They would have beat the shit out of me. But anyways, you know, I went to a couple places like that, and all of a sudden, within my first year, I had 4 places to do sets on the weekend and have $300 in my pocket. And I thought, wow, comedy, this is great.
And it was just you?
Yeah, with me and a couple other guys, but they sort of fell through after maybe the 6th or 7th week in a row of having to put on shows.
Yeah.
You know, because certain places you'd have the same crowd coming in, so you really had to keep up with the new stuff. So I was very fortunate that, A, I had the stage time, and B, I was forced into that situation. I got to come up with new stuff for these people because it's the same crowd.
Yeah, that's right. So every week was a new show.
So, you know, I was very lucky out of the get-go. I got
a
lot of practice
every
before
show.
I officially started.
New show. But yeah, so I mean, now you go, young guys, they see comedy everywhere. It's everywhere. And there's clubs, and they can go hang out and go, I might want to try this. But you're saying that there wasn't even that. So what gave you the impetus to get up on and do comedy?
I was always funny. I remember before that I was getting kicked out of bands for being too funny. I mean, I'm a drummer.
Yeah, I remember that.
They kept on kicking me out because I was too funny. They thought, well, we're supposed to be rock stars. We're 4 guys from Ottawa, from a garage. Relax. No, we're gods. We're rock gods. They must worship us. Shut up. Let's play Beatles songs. Shut up. But you know, it's like
too earnest.
Yeah.
Do you still play drums? Mm-hmm. Is that a workout?
It's very therapeutic.
Yeah,
especially when you put people's pictures of their faces on the drums. No, but no, it's one of my passions. It's one of it's like a therapy session. I go down and play the drums for a couple hours. I come out and I'm very mellow. I mean, perfect time to catch me is after a drum session. Hey, how's it going? Hey, man, sit down, talk.
So you just put on a record and play along?
Yeah, I just have the iTunes. I have a set category for drumming, and they're just songs that are really fun to drum to. My favorite songs are the ones that don't have a beat to them. You know, like they're like a cappella or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
But they don't have a beat, and I find a beat to play to them, and I go, I wonder what this would sound like. Yeah.
But do you ever play with guys?
Oh yeah, occasionally
together?
you get the gig, and I remember my brother who has a band. He used to have a weekly gig, and sometimes I would sit in for a couple of numbers. And yeah, it's fun. It's very therapeutic. The thing that really made me sad was I think it was my 40th high school reunion. I went around to everybody that we ever played with back in bands and jamming and whatever, and like 99 out of 100 said that they had stopped playing. Only one guy said, "Oh, yeah, I still play the guitar." And I go, wow. I thought it was going to be like when my generation grew up, instead of going bowling every Thursday like my dad did, we'd go jamming every Thursday. Let's play, you know what I mean? It's a little harder for, some other, I mean, the easiest thing is the drums. I just put on the headphones and play along to the music. So that's very easy compared to other instruments. But it's sad. I mean, music shouldn't be just for the big rock stars. It should be enjoyed by everybody.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, it's
just
really
hard.
it's really great. Great therapy.
Because when I quit the trumpet after high school, it's hard to sit and play the trumpet at home alone.
Yeah.
Without a band
Yeah.
around you. But yeah. So when you went into these rock clubs in Ottawa starting out, I bet you $50. Did they know you from your band days?
No, most of them didn't.
Okay.
There was only a couple bands I was in that they would have known anyways. I mean, I think the biggest band I was in was a band called Maple Ridge, and it was a choir and a band that came out of the high school thing, and they got a grant from the government to play their music across Canada. So that was
Does that still happen?
That was pretty cool.
Are bands getting grants? From
I have no idea if it's still happening, but back in 74, 75, something like that.
But wasn't
we toured Canada with this big 28-piece band.
20? Wait.
Yeah, it was 9 singers and 2 keyboards and guitars, 2 drummers, bass, everything, horn section, sax, trombone, trumpet. It was great. And then a few of the individuals in the band, they wrote this rock opera called Louis Riel. And it was, hey, Canadian content, boom, sponsor, we play across
They knew
Canada.
where their bread was buttered.
It was great, So,
Was it?
For a year, we pretended we were rock stars. But the quintessential moment was during one gig, we were staying over at a high school. We had our sleeping bags and everything. They had a high school dance, and me and the other drummer said, "Hey, let's go check out this band." It was a trio, power rock trio, doing covers of Led Zeppelin. Went, who are these guys? They suck. They stink. We should go get the other guys in the band, go up there and show them how it's done.
Yeah.
And it turned out that was the last incarnation of Rush before Neil Peart. The band I was in, Maple Ridge, 6 months later, gone, dissolved. Rush, got biggest band in the world.
Jeez.
You know what I mean? It was hilarious.
Hey, now, if your band had taken off like that, would you have liked that as a career?
At the time, I would have liked it, but I kind of like the way it's turned out.
Yeah.
I kind of like doing this. I can't imagine me doing anything else, really. I mean, it's fun to sit in with the drums every once in a while, but, the greatest thing about comedy was I could do it by myself. I didn't need like 4 other guys in a band to agree with everything said. So
That's true.
comedy was really convenient. And,
Yeah.
I was always funny, even with the bands. I mean, anytime we were finished a gig, we were laid over at a hotel or whatever, I'd always be funny, because I was bored. Bored out of my mind.
Yeah.
So you got to be funny.
We are talking with Mike MacDonald. The show is What's So Funny on CFRO 100.5 FM. I'm Guy McPherson. Colleen Browse over there in the booth. Hi, Colleen.
I'm doing my best.
Oh, good.
I'm new at this, Mike.
Did you know, Mike, that Colleen worked a show with you?
Oh, yeah?
He did not. I told you he wouldn't remember. Well, it was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
Comic Vision. Remember, it was a benefit in Vancouver for Institute for the Blind or for something like
Oh,
that.
was that through David Grenier's Stand Up for Mental Health?
No, Meg Soper.
Oh, Meg Soper.
And there were Peter Kalamis, you, Tim Reichert, myself, Meg Soper, and it was a big crowd,
Wow.
round tables for maybe seeing eye dogs or something like. It's awful, eh? That oh yeah, we did the charity,
That
but
was
I
quite
can't
a
even
long
remember.
time ago,
Long
right?
time
Yeah.
ago, and I was just starting out, and I was like the first comic up, so like I didn't even talk to you, and they said don't even make eye contact with them. So
That's in his
I
rider.
tried not to, but I looked at you when you walked past me, but you didn't know that.
That's
That was
funny.
it. Yeah.
That must be a long time ago.
Well, I haven't done as many shows as you, so I remember that. You've done like thousands.
Yeah, I wonder how many you've done.
I don't know. I guess my fair share,
Yeah.
you know.
But yeah, literally thousands.
Yeah, it's been, it was weird. I was out for like good 2.5 years with the being ill, and then boom, back. It's a lot better now.
Are you going to build back up and try to get a special and things like that? Galas at Just for Laughs?
I don't know if I'm going to try to get a special, but I mean, I want to do one because I have an hour that people haven't seen that I think they should see. They might get a kick out of it. But the whole thing about trying to get somebody excited about making something for you, I think I might just have to save up and spend my own money just to tape something and put it out there. With the social media and everything, it's a lot easier now. And
it is, yeah.
I'll let the chips fall where they may. But yeah, I basically have to do it because the last two TV things I did this year, when I got the clip back, the final cut, I realized these people don't know how to cut comedy.
Oh, yeah?
They cut out the jokes. I mean, there's key things that just cannot be denied. Like if we sat in a room and it was a debate, they'd lose. I would prove to them they're wrong in what they did and how they cut things. It just, it's rule number one, never cut funny. They cut out the...
Is the cutting up the setup or the punchline?
Yeah,
everything.
And then this obsession with comedy shows where they think, oh, we must show that there were people that sat there and watched the show as it happened. We must cut to them, but always cut to them, cut to a person not laughing. Why are we looking at the person not laughing when there's laughing going on? I mean, it's just, to me, sometimes it gets to the point where I go, why don't you cut drama or something that you don't hate as much, because you must hate comedy to cut it this way. It's just weird. I mean, thank God for my specials. I was there every moment, every edit that was made. I was there to go, yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, try that. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, do that.
Because it's not like you're just being ornery. You'll say that's good. That's a good cut.
It's just crazy. It's like it's a basic formula. If there was a formula for me, it's concept, joke, act out the joke. Act out the joke. You get the big laughs. When you hear the big laughs, then you can cut to the audience going, great, and then back to me for the concept joke. Act out the joke. Then you know what I mean. And you don't cut anything in between. It's a package.
Well, with the equipment these days, I would imagine it's a lot easier to put out your own.
Yeah.
And just take control.
Yeah, I think I have to, because that's the big power thing. It's not the money. I mean, I joke about the money, but the money is not what I would really want. What I really want is final cut.
Don't tell them that, though. You want both.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's going to get to the point where I'm going to have to ask for it. I mean, I can't keep doing these comedy shows where they cut comedy so badly. I mean, Just for Laughs is pretty good.
Right.
They understand when a joke is over and what part of the joke to cut out and not take away from the essence of that joke. But there's a couple of other places I played this year that, when I saw the final cut, I was really sadly disappointed.
Do you say anything at that point, or is it too late?
Well, yeah, it's not much you can say, because fundamentally you'd have to tell them, it's like, I know how to do your job better than you do.
Right.
And they, nobody wants to hear that.
Yeah.
So.
Then you get a reputation.
Yeah, and it was like I'm the troublemaker for wanting to make it good, but it's just there's certain cuts they can't deny that were bad. Mm-hmm. You know, there's that one joke. I don't know if I can explain it on the radio, but the joke about the acid thing, about being after the party on Saturday night, being chased home by a mailbox. What's your postal code? So I actually flip my hands, making the mailbox, making the motion of the mailbox talking. When they cut that on TV, they had a neck to top of the head shot. You couldn't see the hands. And I'm sitting there going, you cut the funny out of the joke. Why?
Right.
So,
But anytime the camera's on your face, it's going to be funny.
Well, yeah, that too. But there are certain times when it should be just head to toe. Head to keep it head to toe until you hear the big laughs. Then show the audience laughing, and then back to it's very simple, really.
Are you happy or as happy as you can be out touring again?
That's exactly. If I'm going to do anything in the book or whatever, it's going to be called Happy as I Can Be. And constantly, I remember when the special was coming out, everybody would screw up the title. They go, and our next guest, Mike MacDonald, and his new special, Happy as I Can Be. And I was like, no, it's not happy. It's Happy as I Can Be. There's a big difference.
Underline that.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm as happy as I can be, but like I said before, I forget that these things can happen in comedy, and then I go, oh yeah, that's why you gotta have final cut, you gotta have say, you gotta know where you're playing and who you're playing for, and what you have to know everything.
Is your tour schedule like just filled up like it used to be?
I never refer to myself as touring. I always say Lady Gaga tours.
Right.
And I just show up at certain places at certain times.
Are you showing up at certain places?
Yeah, hopefully a little bit more this month than last month. Yeah, but I think the next month is entirely in Ontario. I think it's Ajax, London, Toronto, Hamilton.
Man, it'll
be the Ontario tour.
Yeah, and as you say, not long ago, you were wondering if you'd ever do it again.
Yeah.
And when was that? Like a year or so? When was? Give us a time when you thought, nah.
Well, I had the transplant in March 2013.
Okay.
So 6 months after that.
Wow.
It started back.
But yeah, you were just thinking, thinking I may not ever get to do stand-up again. What was your next thought? Like, what will you do?
Well, I actually had nightmares. I had nightmares of being one of those guys. I can never remember the Legionnaires. You know, those guys with the white hats and the black uniforms that work at certain venues. And, you have to have a flashlight, and you have to say no parking in English and French. So I had nightmares about me having to take a French immersion course so I could have a job in Ottawa and stuff. And I actually, had nightmares about that. And then, thank God the comedy thing worked. The weirdest one was one night in the hospital. I had left the TV, the bed TV on, and I woke up and it was me on Just for Laughs, like 15 years ago, and I couldn't remember a word of what I was saying, and no matter how much they laughed on the tape, I thought it was terrible. I thought I thought, how could I have done this in the first place? I can't even imagine thinking it that way to do it again. So yeah, I was really out of it.
Yeah, that was your frame of mind too.
Yeah. Severe depression. Yeah, I thought, well, no way, I'm gonna have to be like one of those guys with the flashlight.
But you went through depression before your...
Yeah, it's not my first rodeo. Yeah, it's as they say. Yeah.
Because I know you started working with David Grenier or doing shows for him with the Stand Up for Mental Health.
Which I always found was really funny because, the people like that are always like, oh, thank you for doing it. Is it okay you're going to be publicly saying that you have mental illness? And I was going, no, because I have the attitude you play the cards that were dealt to you, right? But they were talking about, we sent out these invitations to all these celebrities, and you're the only one that responded. And I go, really? Because, my attitude was like, the show's about mental illness, and they have patients doing time. And yeah, I could do. I'd kill at that show. I got plenty for them to hear. Yeah, I thought it was a good thing. But I was so surprised that nobody else came out.
But did it, other than the people in the program doing their time, as you say?
Yeah, which is
not
great.
convicts.
Which was funny because I remember the first show I referred to them as outpatients. And they got really offended. They're like, "Oh," and I go, "What do you think I am? I thought we were all in the same boat. I'm an outpatient. You're an right? We're all outpatients. Yeah, okay, great." And I used to love doing those shows because the best thing, I'd come out and say, "Hey, the great thing about this show is I can say anything I want." You just saw 8 patients do 5 minutes apiece about their maladies. And I can walk out and, I can go, "Hey, I first time I committed suicide, tried to commit suicide was when I was 21. And you go, "Oh, like the third guy." Okay, you know what I mean? It was great.
Reference point. Did it hurt your career?
Well, it was weird because, I had a couple people saying that it wasn't a wise move to go public. But my attitude is, well, if people don't want to work with me because of that, they're probably the kind of people I wouldn't like working for anyways in the first place, Yeah.
It made me understand you better, knowing that.
I still think, the nicest compliments are people that tell me that, hey, it's nice to hear somebody talking about it.
Yeah.
At least. So, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like those better than, hey, if you did this, you could get this or whatever. I don't know, whatever.
Do you occasionally, will you
play the cards you're dealt?
That's right. And you were dealt a pretty good hand.
Wouldn't mind a couple of aces now and then.
Yeah, so before that,
I'm not a betting man, but
you had a reputation as you talk about your asshole years, or you weren't that big of, thankfully you weren't big enough of an asshole.
That's the nicest thing about my recovery. It was all this stuff came in on social media, people going, "I remember back in grade 9 when you walked us home after the dance and you were so nice because we were scared and everything and you just made us laugh." And I sit there and I go, "Oh, thank God I wasn't a complete asshole every day of my life." I love hearing those stories.
There was a time.
Because it just proves that, okay, I wasn't an asshole every day.
But a lot of that was perception, too, as you say. Some people will take it the wrong way.
Well, yeah, some comics always said they had a bad reputation about not wanting to talk to them and stuff. And I would always say, well, you're forgetting the key part of that. Before the show, don't walk up to me. Don't fucking talk to me. Nothing. Shut up.
Because you're in your head.
Yeah. After the show, we'll hang out all day. But I always try to let people know it's like baseball. I'm the guy on deck. I'm practicing my swing. You're some fan that wanders onto the field, walks up to me and goes, "Hey, how was your flight? Was it okay? Mm-hmm. Did you come in today? How fast do you think security would have you off the field? Leave me alone. I'm thinking about what I'm going to tell you to make you laugh."
Right.
"Oh, Mike won't talk to us." Okay, fine. And then there were, the people that knew and they hung out later. So, yeah, not entirely all. Like, I deserved a lot of my reputation, but there were times, it was just like, am I in the same, do I have to explain to you the business?
I guess you see those comics, though, who will.
It's amazing. It's like,
will talk.
It's like
all the time and can't stop.
Yeah, comics who phone me like at noon, and it's like that old Lenny Bruce line. No, I'm always awake 8 hours before I go to work. Shut up, I thought non-coms, when non-comedians, that kind of shit, okay, fine.
They don't know any better.
But yeah, we're in the same business. Do you know not to phone before 5? I got to work at 9. Like, if you have to go to work at 7 a.m., do you wake up at 2? No, you wake up at 5 or 5:30, 6, and then take a shower and go to work.
That's right. You don't go home, go to bed right after work. Yeah. How long have you been with your wife? You're a saint of a wife.
Yeah. That's the thing with comedians. I find most comedians, we find either the psychotics or saints. There's the two choices. Yeah. Psychotic or saints. And, the ones that are lucky enough to have the saints, I'm one of those. It's one of the only things I did right the first time out of the shoot. Everything else I've had to learn from my mistakes, but I picked the right woman, and we've been married for at least 28 years now.
At least.
Yeah, we stopped counting after like 10 because what's the point? Okay, we're just gonna keep going. Do you want to do this with somebody else? No, no.
So who is she? Where did you meet? Was she in the business?
The first time I met her, she was a hostess at a high-end restaurant in Toronto, and then she became manager of the Yuck Yucks in Toronto, and slowly grew on me. You know what I mean? And she was the only one to walk through that. I used to have that thing at a party where I'd stand there and I'd put my foot against the wall and I'd have this invisible barrier around me that nobody could walk up to. Nobody could talk to me because I was just sitting there like moody and, brooding and, intense. But she walked right through that. I went, "Hi, how you doing? What's your name?" And I went, "Who the hell is?" And then she touched my hair. She messed up my hair. And I went, "Who the fuck is this bro?" It's like, she was in, she made me laugh. She got the joke. She understood. I mean, yeah.
She didn't do that before you went on, though. That's the key.
But you know what I mean? It was hysterical. It was a no-brainer.
And so when you were sitting there brooding at a party, was that part of the manic depressive bipolar?
In hindsight, it probably was.
Oh, you didn't know that.
Some of it, no. Yeah. But I wasn't diagnosed for a good 10 years. When I first started, I think it was like going into 10 to 15 years in when I was diagnosed as bipolar. And I have that thing where I get really fucking angry and then I get really depressed. It's always that cycle. Anger and then depression.
Would it affect you on stage? I don't think so. 'Cause you're a pretty consistent performer.
Yeah, most of the time I was lucky I could slog through it. And very rarely something upsetting would happen before the show because I try to keep it to a minimum before the show. Like I don't go out. I can't go out for lunch or whatever. I wake up. I have a ritual. It takes 2 hours. Iron the shirt, go to the shower, boom, do the hair, boom, shave, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? I got the nobody's there. I think my wife has only been on 3 gigs on the road ever. And the first time, we realized it was going to be a problem because I come out of the shower, she has the heat turned up. She goes, "I was cold." Mm-hmm. And I go, "Oh my God. What am I supposed to? If you're cold, you can put on a sweater. If I'm hot, what the fuck am I going to do? This is not going to work out." It's gotta be my way, you know what I mean? I gotta see my breath, you know what I mean? I gotta be in the vampire, the chill area before the show. I can't be hot.
Be sweating in your work clothes.
I know. I can't. So it was just something that we decided right away. Why put her through my bullshit every time? So stay at home. I'll tell you all about when I get home.
We decided. Yeah. She probably said, "I don't want to." Oh no, I don't want anything to do with it.
It was pretty. We're pretty cool with the mutual side of it. When we both see something right, we go, "Yeah, okay," and then boom, on to the next thing. We don't dwell on a lot of it.
But that proves that you are at heart a decent, nice guy. Just being with a great woman for 28 years. She looked after you.
I want to be, and that's the thing that's kept me with her. If I didn't want to change or want to be better, if I didn't try to be better, then she'd be out of here. But for some reason, I have been doing something right for her to still be there. So I just got to concentrate on doing more of the stuff that I've been doing right. Like, it's a nice thing for a while. Like right now, like my wife said to me the other night, "Thank you for being so kind to me." And I went, "Wow, I wasn't aware I was being kind. I thought I was being normal. But if that's kind, good. I'll do more of that.
Yeah,
what did I do? I'm gonna do more of that."
And women soften men, too, make them less mean. When you say something, and they'll go, "Oh, that's not a nice thing to say," and then make you reflect. Like, actually, imagine how bitter you'd be without.
My wife is amazing in the times where she can give me something. Like, she'll say something that I'll go immediately, that has to be heard by other people. Like, perfect example, I was trying to figure out see, my concept on jokes, I'll talk about anything if it's the right context. Like, the reason I don't have an AIDS joke in my act right now, because I haven't found the punchline which exposes the pharmaceutical companies for not sharing the information for finding a cure. Once I get that joke, then I'll have an AIDS joke in my show. But things like I was trying to write something about homophobia, and my wife said to me, homophobia is straight guys worried that gay guys are going to treat them like they treat women. And I went, oh my God, everyone's got to hear that.
Yeah, it's a great line.
That's something people need to be. And then I just add the joke about the guys not getting it, gays trying to come on to them. Hey, I'm not gay. Get away from me. Hey, no means no. Oh, now you get it.
Yeah.
Boom. You know what I mean? But yeah, the wife constantly gives, she'll say stuff that I just go, well, people should hear that. That's a good idea. Like my friend Matt Billen just gave me a line tonight, literally before we came in here. It's like when I'm talking about any misogyny, any like Ray Price, Bill Cosby lately, any of the Giamatti, whether that guy, like
Gomeshi?
Yeah, Gomeshi, whatever. The only people defending these people should be their lawyers.
Right.
Period. And as soon as Matt said that, I said, "Oh man, can I have it? I'll pay for it, whatever." And he goes, "No. Well, we're friends. We'll get, a lot of times comedians we give things back and forth, but that one was a big one because to me that's the capper for all that misogynist shit." The only people defending these people should be their lawyers. Man, that's a great line.
And it fits in because you do talk about that in your act, right?
And, and it's something that, I think the funniest heckle I've ever gotten when I was doing jokes that give women a fair shake, and some guy in the audience yelled out, "Gender traitor!" And I went, wow, well, thank you. Thank you, sir. Can I have that put on my lapels? Gender traitor. I'm going to wear that with a badge of honor. Thank you.
Were you always like that, or did it take a while?
I took a while. It wasn't always like that. But I was very lucky. My father was maritime, Nova Scotia, Scottish, military, blah, blah, blah. My mother was French, and he met her when he was stationed in Metz, France, right? So it was always, I never had this hatred towards women. The French side, it was always like when you walked in a room, you kissed each other twice on the cheeks, like Italians, the French, everything was cool. So I didn't have that period when I went, "Oh, girls." Right. I always liked girls. I always liked being in the company of women. They're far more, I know what the guys are going to say already. You know what I mean? It takes a lot for the guys to hang out with me a lot. But I like the women, like in grade 3, I remember in public school in Halifax, where my dad was stationed at the time. Getting in trouble the first day for crossing the recess line. They had the girls' side and the boys' side. I was on the girls' side talking to girls, and the teacher came in, and they get in trouble. And in class for making jokes and stuff, they made me sit with the girls, and I was going, "This is great." And all the other guys, "Yeah, look, he has to sit with the girls. You guys don't get it." It's like, you'll never, some of you will never get it, but man, this is way better. I purposely tell the jokes so I can sit with the girls. Oh, man.
Started you on your career path.
It was hysterical.
Yeah. But it took you a while to, like guys can be guys, as you say.
Well, yeah.
And when you're on stage,
exactly.
you may say things that aren't particularly appropriate.
And I think I always like to think, my wife would always say, it's different, when you hear certain things from an effeminate guy. But with a guy that, it's like a normal kind of guy, and when you hear this stuff and you go, "Oh, okay." More, but I just think it's really weird that shit like that still sticks out. That you can actually take a side on this shit. Yeah. It's incredibly stupid to begin with.
There's a question I was going to ask you earlier when you said you moved back to Canada, from California. Did you have medical insurance at the time?
No.
So that would.
I mean, I had insurance in the United States.
Yeah.
But.
Oh, you did. So if you
nothing in Canada, so it took like I think it was the 6 months before you become a permanent resident again.
Yeah.
So for 6 months, there was nothing, and then I basically for at least 2 years lived off funds from fans.
Yeah, there was there were
fans,
fundraisers all across the country,
and other comedians like Harlan Williams, people like that. They send me personal checks saying like, "Hey, whatever you need, blah, blah, blah." So, Yeah, well, I've said it before in interviews, and it's certainly true. At the time, it was like being in It's a Wonderful Life, you know what I mean? And my manager put it succinctly. He said, most people have to die before they hear this kind of stuff about them, but you're lucky you're still alive and you're hearing all these great things said about you. And I went, yeah, you're right. Very
surreal
lucky.
too.
Yeah, it's very, very surreal and totally surprising. When I look back, I go, holy mackerel, because I had nothing. There was a good year and a half I couldn't work at all. Mm-hmm. I was bedridden.
You didn't know you were so beloved.
Yeah, I had no idea. No idea.
Yeah. But I was wondering, so if you had insurance in California, it wouldn't have broken you like we hear a lot of in the States.
And the weird thing about California too is, and I've done it a couple times for like bills that were like, I remember one when there was $14,000 for a couple of weeks in a psych ward. And they said 50% off if you pay cash. And I went, what kind of system is this? A supermarket. I have coupons. How much do I, And thank God I was in a position at the time to have the money. But, you can imagine people that don't have the money, what the hell do they do?
What do they do?
Yeah, it's crazy. So it's a crazy system. And it's like I say in my act, and it's true. I don't mind paying higher taxes as long as everybody has a shot at good health care. Mm-hmm. That's the attitude. That's the country I want to live in. That's the attitude I want everybody to have.
Well, we're glad you're back. You also did acupuncture. I saw in an interview before you got your transplant. Some guy said he would cure you in 8 months? Or no, 8 weeks?
Yeah, I have to admit, I'll probably mention it in the book if I ever do write a book. But there was a couple of, one was certifiable crazy. I mean, I defy anyone not to diagnose that guy as crazy. But there was another guy. He was, was an Asian guy, and he said he would cure me. But it got to a point where I had a couple of kidney stones that aggravated the situation medically and stuff, and I deteriorated. And then I got poisoning, I think it was called aluminum poisoning or whatever, some kind of ammonium or whatever, I don't know. I'm not a doctor, although I play one. No, it got really, really bad.
But you're
fast.
just searching for anything, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was willing to try anything because, quite frankly, the first time they told me about the transplant, it scared the shit out of me. They said this can happen and that can happen, and you can get this and this might happen, and then and I go, wow, if all those things can happen, why am I taking this in the first? It's like the old joke about the pills, the side effects are suicide, killing yourself, brain tumors. What? Why am I taking this?
Why would anyone take that?
But you have to take 3 other pills to counteract the side effects of this pill.
They just have to cover their butts.
It's just the people who make pills, they make money.
Right? They have to cover their butt.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I mean, I remember I used to have that joke about, remember the chips, and they said may cause anal leakage.
Yes.
I go, how the hell did they, like somebody had to walk in there and go, oh, my, there's anal leakage. I'm suing you bastards. Oh my God, we must put that on the bag so no one else can sue it. Here, give them a bunch of money. Shut the hell up. There's a gag order on that. Here, take the $2 million, put it on the bag. Anal leak. But that's not good for selling it. To put it on the bag. We're not paying another lawsuit.
We're not going to sell any more
may
chips.
cause anal leakage.
Oh, man. So, but it's great to have you back, Mike, and great to see you on stage and so healthy and traveling. And I want to read your book.
Happy as I can be. That's going to be the title.
Underline.
Yeah, that's going to be the title.
Yeah, that's for your whole life, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Not just now.
Oh, yeah.
When you come out on stage now, and there's a line that you've said for years, thank you, I have so much to live for. That brings extra meaning.
The irony
now,
of the
it?
residents now, it's like, yes, truer words have never been spoken by this individual.
Prescient, you knew. Yeah.
Thank you. I have so much to live for.
Yeah.
Yeah. No kidding.
Okay, so you're going to be touring Ontario in the next month?
Showing up at certain places, yes.
Sorry, not touring. Showing up. We hope you show up at certain places back in Vancouver soon.
Oh, yeah. Vancouver's always cool. Matt always gets these great gigs for me to come out and do. So,
you and him do these little tours to all small towns on the island and throughout BC?
Matt was one of the few comedians, and when I started to get sick, that was still letting me work at all.
You?
Yeah. Yeah, because a lot of places wouldn't hire me because they thought I was too sick or whatever.
Oh,
so there was a couple of weird shows that we did out in BC. Certain places where people afterwards they thought, "Oh my God, he was drunk. What was wrong with him? He was repeating the same joke. He was drunk." And no, he was sick. All right.
Oh wow.
So it's always nice to come back to BC, especially in those towns where I did those kind of shows to show them, "Oh yeah, sorry, I was sick. Now here's the new show. It's much better."
Well, you did do dabble, quote unquote, in drugs in your youth, as you said that you were a drug addict.
It's been let me see, about 26, 27 years since I put a needle in my arm. Yeah,
wow.
Put any hard drugs in my body. I mean, the greatest thing after the transplant, I asked my transplant team, I said, I've never been a big drinker, so it's no problem with the no drinking with the new liver. And I never liked alcohol. It's a lousy drug. It's very unproductive. But I said, well, what about pot? And they said, well, we'd rather you eat it than smoke it, but we can't say a lot of bad things about it. And I went, group hug. Thank you. So, yeah.
Yeah. But you never went on stage back in the day
even
high or drunk?
Even when I was a heroin addict, I always made sure that I woke up, got ready, did the show. Then after the show, we'd get high. But always got to sleep, wake up, shower, do the show, then get high.
Professional
Never
first.
before. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Even when I was a hardcore addict, had to have it every day. Always waited till after the show.
When was that? How long was that? You can't do that too long.
No, it was off and on for like maybe 3 or 4 years in the mid 80s, something like that.
How do you even start something like that? Because you have to know.
I think it was peer group pressure and the marketing of the death of John Belushi and Richard Pryor. No.
That's a good selling point.
Well, I mean, that certainly was part of it. What? Richard Pryor and John Belushi are getting high doing what? I love those guys. Bang. You know what I mean? I want to be just like them. So there was that aspect. I'm not going to lie. But,
Did it help?
No. I mean, there's no joke I've written on alcohol, cocaine, heroin, anything that takes you up, any kind of pharmaceutical pill or painkiller. No jokes whatsoever. Pot, okay, fine. But everything else, unproductive drugs. Unproductive.
Pot too, though. I mean, that's
well, it can be if you smoke it like every second of every day.
Yeah.
I'm very conscious of that. And my doctors always sneer at me when I tell them I take a couple of hits and I'm good for 2.5 hours. Yeah, sure. I'm telling you, somebody gives me a joint, it lasts me like a week, 2 weeks. You know what I mean? It's there's that natural cycle, and I think some people smoke it too much. They try to, when they go up on the cycle, when they hit that peak, they want to stay there. And they think that if they keep smoking, they stay there. But the natural cycle is to go up for about 2.5 hours, come down, have a sandwich, watch a little TV. Then maybe on a good day, you can have 2 writing sessions where you sit there for 2.5 hours, music playing, transcribing notes, and fixing your act. Going to work, doing our homework.
You got pot smoking down to a science.
Oh yeah, and that's they always sneer at that, but it's like anything. I always use the example. Ernest Hemingway, back in the day, he would have a glass of wine and pump out 15 extraordinary pages of something. Then it got to a point where it was a bottle, 2 bottles, 1 sentence. So if you abuse the muse, that's what you get.
Mm-hmm. So, all these guys killed themselves.
Yeah, so I don't abuse the muse.
Good. Well, Mike, we've run out of time, but thank you so much for coming.
Well, thankfully I haven't.
Yes,
and I will continue to have time. I'll bury all of you.
It's been great having you here, Mike.
Oh, thanks very much.
Come by again. Next time we'll have the mics working right from the start. Next week, Next week on the show, we have Orny Adams. It is a good interview I had with him a couple weeks ago, or a few weeks ago now. And then the following week, we have Darren Frost. Oh, lots of surprises coming up. So thanks for listening, and thanks again for Mike MacDonald for being our guest here tonight.
Both great comics coming up.
Thank you for the plug.
Yeah, absolutely. They're very funny, well worth the listen.
All right, thanks, and talk to you next week. Good night.